It stopped.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Y'all all right? It's your girl Tilted Halo here at the Unhinged radio show live, sitting alongside my good girlfriend Karen Sims of Twisted Threads. And my, we are so excited that we did not melt in the past week's heat wave. So we have the ability to come back and broadcast with you live on tonight and spend a bit of time with you all, having the conversations that you all have come to know and love. So before I get into it, what's up, Karen? Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. I am doing great and amazing. Glad to be back on this evening. What? We all the way live. That's my favorite part. We're all the way live.
All the way live. There is no turning back. Again, y'all already know what it is. Thank you makes room for more. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you to each and every one of us for continuing to hang in here with us here on this ride. It's so much fun, and I hope that you connect with the joy that we emit through these here internet airwaves, because it is truly our pleasure and such a great privilege to be able to come before you every single time we do, because we understand that with this platform comes a whole lot of power, but you already know what it is. We remix it up over here and make sure that we bring you as much joy as possible as we tackle some tough conversations from time to time. So you already know what we finna do. Of course, let me go ahead and give you the show rundown. We are going to, of course, have that super fan out shout out. So what I need y'all to do is call your mom and them, call your sister and them, your cousin them, anybody you know that I might know or Karen might know, because you never know what fan, which one of y'all we might take the time to acknowledge. We see everything. We're always watching, and we would love to take the opportunity and have the opportunity to acknowledge some of the great work we know is going on here in the Tilted Halo tribe. Karen, I don't know about you, but I'm so grateful that we are surrounded by such a group of talented individuals here in our Tilted Halo tribe collective. So yeah, we're going to have that super fan out shout out. We're going to get into, our movie and streaming conversation merrily down the stream. Break it on down with a little bit of what's really going on. And of course, we'll end the broadcast in such a divine fashion by receiving yet another wisdom nugget from our very own in-house master life coach, my sister, my friend, Queen Karen Sims of Twisted Threads. So what it do, Karen?
We're doing a lot of things today, and I think we said we were going to do a couple of things in the summer, and here we are in the midst of summertime, and it's summering outside. That's what I'm calling this heat right now. It is summering outside, and so we're super excited about all of the opportunities, and we got some of everything to bring to y'all, because I promise you, these streets are moving more quickly than even we can keep up. And Tilted, you already, Keita,
you already know
that's very fast.
I've often been referred to as a woman who does not allow grass to grow underneath her feet. And, your girl just been busy. But it's been good busy. I promise you, I still managed to get my naps in when necessary, because we already know here at the Unhinged radio show, naps are a ministry, okay? So don't you ever let anybody make you feel bad when you just say, hey, look, I need to go lay down for about an hour, especially when you hit this age, right? We're queenagers. And more often than not, I think it's been confirmed amongst our group of friends that we all manage to take a nap when we know we're fitting to step out at night and do grown folks things.
It's important. It's important. Why? Because literally we don't want the folks to catch us slipping or sleeping. Because if
Not
you
at all,
sit us
because
still too long, if you sit us still too long and ain't nothing going on, well, you know, the noise might not be coming from the band. It might be us getting a quick power nap. So
yes, ma'am. But you know what? Since we're on the conversation of naps right now, you know, I actually heard a brief news story this morning about naps and how they could actually be detrimental to your health. I began to rebuke that thing. I almost picked up the oil and threw it at my TV because I was like, the devil is a lie. I don't understand how a nap could be detrimental to your health.
See, I have to totally disagree with that because in this world of all things being what they are, we're reminded that everything we needed to know we learned in kindergarten. And honey, that's where we learned to really truly appreciate the naps. And so now you tell us after 4 to 5 decades that naps are detrimental. Everybody, like your body needs to be refreshed. So whether it's in the middle of the day or not, I can't sign up for that. But you know what? Just because they sell a drug on the street don't mean you got to buy it. So I'm with you on that one. We gonna rebuke that because I support the NAP ministry. I know many a day it has saved a life, more than just mine. Some of y'all out there that will be watching this video either now or via playback have benefited from the power of the NAP.
Yes, the power of the nap, like you just said, Karen, it has saved the many a soul a many a day. All right. And you know, not for nothing, back in the day, you know, this gentleman thought he wanted to entertain my company. And you know, in the dating interview phase, I shared with him that I should take naps. And brother man told me he didn't take naps. I couldn't talk to him no more.
Oh, Lord.
I didn't understand what that was about because I knew that I would get on his nerves because when I schedule a nap, bruh, that's what really needs to be happening for your safety as well as mine.
See, maybe we could redirect the conversation because I'm okay if you don't take a nap. Just don't interrupt mine. That's really what it is.
So,
I don't mind if you don't nap. Just know
your girl about to get it in, and I don't need no NyQuil. I don't need no sleep aids. All I need to do is sit good and still for a good 15 minutes solid, and I promise you, the Sandman is coming for your girl. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. All right.
I love it. So if any questions are asked, we do support and sponsor the NAT ministry over here at the Unhinged Radio Show Live. So you're looking for a sponsor for the NAT ministry, we right here.
Yes, ma'am. So I want to go ahead and get into this week's super fan out shout out. And somebody evidently was paying attention and made sure they had their hind parts in the stream. And because I see this week's super fan out shout out right here in the chat. And this week I want to go ahead and acknowledge my powerful, my fierce and fabulous sister, hailing from Galveston, Texas herself, the beautiful Miss Free Little.
Love it.
Yeah, you know, both Karen and I have had the awesome opportunity to connect with the beautiful Miss Free on her broadcast to discuss both of our individual contributions to our book, The Depths and Diversity Within Relationships. Let's talk about it. And Miss Free is, I mean, let me tell you, she freely gives. This woman is the definition of her name. And I promise you, when we began to share our hopes and our dreams and our visions, and even spending time in prayer together, we connected in a way from heart to heart and breast to breast that only God can do. And I tell you, our sister has been that extension to help Karen and I reach the vision that we've been declaring with each other. We are after zip codes and area codes. We taking it all because we serve a limitless God. So, of course, we speak no limits when it comes to the Unhinged Radio Show. I said I was going to head west because y'all know y'all girl is from Cali. But baby, I appreciate the pit stop that I was able to make in Texas and the beautiful connection that we now have with our sister Free. So Free, I want to take the time to just tell you I love you, girl. I appreciate all the swag and all the flavor that you are bringing to these internet streets uh, before, for the kingdom. Because one thing that is universal through us, all of us, is that what we do it to give God glory and to show what God's people are doing. We're doing a whole lot more than just sitting inside the four walls of the brick and mortar. We are out here as successful business owners. We are out here as successful sportsmen and women. We are authors. We are investors. We are entrepreneurs extraordinaire. And it's almost as if we've been connected with the spiritual vision of gaining and claiming what the enemy stole from us in the form of reparations by creating our own doors of
I love it.
opportunity. So thank you again, Free, for opening the door of opportunity and giving us access there in Texas. Not only am I going to shout you out, Free, I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge the beautiful Hope Coach herself, Miss Tan Tate, and my girl, the homie. She don't even know me like that just yet, but Zion the Voice. Y'all remember her name. And I look forward to hosting all of you here on the platform as we continue to build and grow the brand forward. So now, Karen, I don't want to take up all the fan out, shout out time. Do you have anyone you'd like to shout out?
I do have a shout out, but you had me over here about to shout during the shout out, the super fan shout out. I'm sitting here like, yes, listen, we declared this a long time ago about area codes and zip codes. And not only are we snatching them for the kingdom, but we are expanding territory. And sometimes we forget the power of our words. So I want to do a super fan shout out. And I know she comes on from time to time, but we're going to shout out the newly, do I say newly married? Yeah, she on her honeymoon, so we're gonna say newly married, Nicole Whedon. And so we celebrate her nuptials that happened earlier. And honey, they in Aruba right now, and bless the Lord for all of the things or I believe they on their way back now, because most of us, we don't post where we at, we post where we've been. But we bless the Lord for her nuptials, her family, and for just how God is a promise keeper. A lot of us who are in these internet streets as single women have a lot to contend with when we're thinking about how how we want to present ourselves. And a lot of us are praying, Lord, send me a husband, send me a husband. I know many a time be like, okay, not that one, send that one back. But we bless the Lord that she is celebrating her nuptials and that she is beginning her new life with her and her family. And so we want to shout them out with all of the blessings that they have in store for them. But we know that, God is not only the author of marriage, but he blesses marriages as we present it to him. So Nicole, and she's transparent. She's out here, doing her entrepreneurial thing, another entrepreneur. And all of us are not always in the camera all the time, but some of us are in the back, handling the business, getting the merchandise out. I promise you, there is something that you get to be able to learn from every person as part of our Tilted Halo tribe. And so we welcome everybody who's coming. Thank you, Free Little. She be giving them shout outs all together. Y'all gonna get on this live whether you want to or not, because she's sure gonna tag you. But we thank God for all of you who are able to join us. And if we didn't call your name this week, stay tuned, because we're watching. We're seeing what you're doing out here in these, and I say the internet streets, but as we're coming to you, we're also coming to see all of the things that you're doing. And we want to celebrate every little bit of your life. So today we're shouting out folks. Tomorrow it's going to be you. Why? Because you're going to get connected and be like, I want them to shout me out. So I'm going to let them know what it is that I'm doing so that we all get to stay connected.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Indeed. So, so we're going to get into it. because we got a little time on our hands, and actually we got a whole lot of time on our hands, but allow me to jump up off of that. So let me get my throat together. Hold
Okay.
on.
All right. All right. All right. I love the getting the throat together because that means we going somewhere. Cool.
Point your remote control at your TV screen. Merrily, 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 find something to stream. All right, all right, all right. Y'all already know what it is. Many of us have adopted the habit of just getting caught up in one of these streaming apps, enjoying something in our viewing, and some of it, a whole lot of it, is conversation worthy. So last week I brought out something that totally just blew my mind. Who we are. The case built against America, against slavery. All right. And Karen, I understand you took the time to view that. Talk to me about it, sister. We can get into it.
We're going to get into it tonight, and we want to hear from those who are listening, or if you catch us on the replay, we want you to share your thoughts in the comments. Because here's one of the things, a lot of times when we share details of what we're streaming on this segment, it's fun stuff. We're laughing, we are joking, but there are a lot of times where we get an opportunity to be introduced to these documentary. And so, as you mentioned, Who We Are is the chronicle of racism in America. And here's something that I think is controversial in the sense of a lot of times we wonder, maybe some of us are like, no, you don't want slavery to be taught in schools, or we hear that CRT, critical race theory, and most people are confused about what it is. But here's what this documentary did in such a powerful way. And I gotta shout you out, Keita, because I don't know what I was getting into. But me and the boo was like, okay, we're gonna watch it. I don't even think he was ready for that type of television. But in if I could sit him down for Hallmark, like he normally gets sucked into, then we can do this, kind of learning and understanding the deeper dive, because a lot of, and I say this often, I'm black all day, come back tomorrow and I'm gonna be black again. So there are certain things that are important to us, but this Who We Are really dug deep into so many different aspects of American history. So, not critical race theory, you want to call it by something else, US American history. And I found it to be not just enlightening, but literally mind blowing. And oftentimes, we don't promote particular shows because we getting paid for them. Yeah, hit us up. That's all I got to say on that. Because this gentleman that decided that he was going to do this documentary came together for this Who We Are project, and it was lawyer Jeffrey Robinson, and he talked to people about their views on racism. He also shared details of history, of murder, of rape, of oh my goodness, some atrocities that happened here on American soil, and many of the people portrayed it. It has been portrayed in many different ways. But one of the things while I was watching it, and it came out later in the documentary, I promise you, we're not going to give any spoiler alerts because there's so much to learn. But I said, when we think about racism in America, it actually was genocide here in our lifetime. And so they started talking about why it was just that, and what are the things that come along with that. For those of you, if you haven't seen it, I don't care what color you are. I don't care if you white, black, German, Hispanic. This is something that is important, not just because it's about Black American history, but this is about racism in America. And a lot of times we will hear people often say, that's not who we are. We're not that type of country. But the receipts,
all of the receipts
everywhere. Like what Mr. Robinson came back and literally shared with us It was so crazy because he didn't bring up anything. He didn't bring up anything. You know what I mean? He did, and we sharing comments that's coming through. He didn't share anything new, but it gave us an opportunity to know more about the history, and also gave a better understanding of why some of this stuff people don't want us to talk about, because many of the folks who participated in the lynchings, in the murders, are still alive today. You know, it's not that it was so long ago that some of these people were not alive, but it also gave a lot of insight into not just the struggles of Americans in the United States, but also the excellence and the regalness from which we come from, where apparently that's a problem to people still today, that we got to struggle and fight for a place to just live our lives in a way that has been allowed for people of other nationalities. But heaven forbid that we would be able to have some of the same opportunities. So he talks about redlining. He talks about how that happened. He talks about
Mhm.
the Constitution and who it really was for. He even gets into the thought of reparations. Now, I don't want to give it all away, but I promise you that part,
Girl,
that
what
part,
I noticed what you quoted specifically when you hit me up. Reparations were already paid to the slave owners.
yep.
And the information he presented to substantiate his statement, solid. So those of you who are listening and you want to take the time to go find it on that media streaming app, I hope you're uncomfortable with what you hear. Because unfortunately, as a melanated people who were snatched while we were off the banks of the big river, as we were standing in our positions of king, queen, prince, princess, doctor, chief of the village,
Yes.
they did not steal slaves. They attempted to steal legacy. But fortunately, so many of us came into the knowledge and the power of who we truly are that we became determined to make sure we change the trajectory of our families, for our families, as we move forward, making the way for a future generation. So yes, I said it. I hope you feel uncomfortable, because many of us have been made to feel uncomfortable all of our very lives, just by simply entering the room and being the only Black or brown girl. With that being said, I want to go ahead and, touch on the dialogue that our sister Audrey, shout out to our Tilted Halo tribe, Natural D, Audrey Hightower, and our brother, that boy AP. They're going to be coming in here soon, y'all. Y'all already know I like to hit y'all with the tribe when it's unexpected. Just know they coming, all right? Get ready, get ready, get ready. Audrey brought up a conversation amongst the tribe offline, and she actually asked us, have we, and I'm going to just, shorten her question. Had we ever felt like we stood as a representation of our people when we go about our business doings during the day? And it amazed me that every single one of us have this shared experience of feeling that way.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about that just a taste, Karen?
I think it's an interesting thought, and a lot of times, and I say it often because for those of you who don't know, one of my passions is really working in the DEI space in workplaces. So not just okay, well, we pro-Black every day, but there's a reason for us to kind of make sure that it's not just us, but that we get a broadened multicultural mindset. Why? Because the majority, in a lot of instances, as professionals, that we're working with people who may not look like us. Okay, like literally, I promise you, there's so many different levels to this. But even when you think about how you address people, how you are able, so code switching, and we talk about that a lot, and I love it because I just recently had an opportunity to learn more about that and how it shows up for us in the professional world, but also how it shows up for students in higher ed. And code switching, I share all the time that when I first came here to North Carolina, honey, I went to visit, either Aisha or Albie, and they gave me that silk press so that we could swing this head around because I wasn't really
You whip
sure.
my hair back as well. You
Honey,
whip my hair. Oh, I'm sorry.
listen. So we were able to do those things, and literally it was like, I don't really know what I'm coming into. So we're gonna make sure that when I come into it, I'm gonna look like the others so that they will not, kind of have a thought of, oh, well, she's unprofessional or she doesn't look like she's a leader. And then I got there and I saw some diversity. And then, I give them 5 minutes to know me and they like, okay, they know her. And then, honey, listen, they got all the curls. Probably the last 3 years, they done got all these flowers and people will ask, wow, why you wear flowers? They like, oh my goodness, that give me the Billie Holiday. Yes, it does. Cause I was, going through a little bit of that. Yes. But the other thing is that we get the opportunity when people see me, I want y'all to know this got to be an experience. So these flowers here is not just for decoration. They're your PSA and your warning. Brace up, because I no longer want to hide all of me when I walk in a room like I did on that first day. So if I decide I want to get my silk press, great. If I decide you getting this hair this way with flowers, great. If I decide we're going to go all the way Angela Davis, it's my prerogative, in the words of Minister Bobby Brown. I get to say how I'm going to show up. And so, when we had that discussion and started talking about what things do we do, well, we try to make sure that, we are sound and educated. We got a way that we communicate to people who are colleagues and to our besties. So when I see Keita, I'm saying, hey girl, hey. Now when I come into the office, good morning. How was everyone? Hope you all had a good weekend. Listen, I could get you want my name. I'm an actual Karen, so don't come here with it. I wrote the book. You want to know? Listen, we're gonna snatch it back. But when people understand, like there's so many levels and layers to this, and sometimes it gets tiring. Because what if I don't want to come in with the good morning and I want to, hey girl, hey y'all, and that's for me, because I believe that there is, and somebody said it to us this way, is that even though we want to come in with our full selves, there's an appropriate way depending on the venue and environment you're in. So if you go to the library, and this, I promise, if I knew the woman's name, I'd give her actual credit. She said, if you go into the library, bring your whole self quietly, because that's the rule of the library. So you can bring your whole self. It doesn't mean that it has to be a great big expression, but if you are, I'm a loud person by choice. I'm a talkative person. Sometimes, maybe too talkative for folks, and they might say, well, she's unprofessional, or it might say, well, they don't really normally say that about me. I have been touted as somebody saying to me, I've been too professional, or too overly professional. It's like, y'all not my homies. You pay me to be professional. So you're gonna get all this professionalism and you're gonna be all right, okay? Because you don't want me to come in. Why?
Y'all don't want to turn up. Y'all don't want to turn up there in the office. Not coming for me.
What's my line, Keita? What's my line? It could be whatever.
It could be whatever. But we choose to code switch in the marketplace, and I'm so glad you brought that out. And you made the reference to your hair. And I know that, speaking of hair, is there somebody knocking on the door?
Uh-oh.
Is somebody knocking on the door?
I think we got somebody knocking on the door.
I need to, let me get this door. Hold on.
Go get the door, Keita.
Hey. What's going on? So we talk about hair. What's happening? What?
Girl, look, we were just talking about how the tribe, we have our own shared experience of, feeling like we are the representation of our culture, because we always find ourselves standing in the position of being the only Black or brown girl in the room. So there's certain behaviors that we leave outside the door when we enter the room, and there's certain behaviors that we bring in. And Karen just shared it, and I'm sure many of us are familiar with the phrase, with the term code switching. We code switch professionally, and I know you were talking about your hair, Karen. I know once they went ahead and passed the Crown Act, baby, they started getting all this fro. Whether my curls chose to act right or not, baby, I'm taking them to the office with me. I do comb my hair. Okay, so let's go ahead and address that myth. Natural hair is combable and manageable. I brush my hair every day, which allows me the opportunity to switch up my style. Like y'all already know, y'all done seen me on these things, sometimes with curls, sometimes with braids. And today my bun is slicked back, oh so very, very smooth. Because again, I comb my hair. So can you share with us your experience in the code switch? Because I got a question for you about my hair, Dee.
Oh, absolutely. Most Black women understand that when you start a job or when you interview, you always feel like it's got to be slicked down, edges got to be flat, or, get your swoops on, but not too many swoops. You can't swoop too much for the interview. And you just feel like it has to look a certain way, a certain non-African way.
Okay.
And so, once you get your foot in the door, you might wait a month, two. These days, listen, I'm coming to the interview. You're getting what you're getting. The good Lord bless me with these curls. That's what you're getting. So, we just have to bust down these standards that are out there that are just myths themselves. So
exactly. So
oh yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing, Dee. I got a question, and right now I want to have a personal Q&A publicly with our in-house curlipist, Miss Natural D. Isn't she beautiful? Y'all look at her; she's so cute. Anyway,
taking this hair now because in less than 10 days.
Girl, I can't wait. I can't wait to see what you present to the world next, because you are blessed with designer hair, girl.
My mama prayed heavily for this.
So look, but speaking, because I'm trying to get like you, and I have some concerns about my 4BC low porosity hair. Mm-hmm. And I, right now, especially in these humid months, I'm battling the humidity and extra frizz. So talk to me. What are some things I could do to take care of my hair so there's not as much frizz?
So summertime, I know for me, I try to keep it twisted or braided as much as possible on off days, especially when I'm not in the office, because for me, UV rays just wreak havoc. And so people don't realize your hair can get burned if you're out in the sun too long too. I've had conversations with a few stylists, and they have let me know, like, because I'm always like the top of my head, it just, I'm hiding some frizz back here myself, because here, and I walk at lunch, so here just gets frizzy. And they talked to me about UV rays really being an issue as well. So for me, summertime, I make sure if I need a little extra protein, I put it in, or I use a spray leave-in that has it's a restructurizer, but it's lightweight, so it's not too heavy for those who might be low porosity, but it's just enough to help with UV rays to attack that. But listen, butters, leave-ins, probably not too many oils, because you don't want that cooking on your head either. So.
We're gonna have
and if necessary, go to a head wrap. That's because sometimes I feel like, let me just throw a head wrap on because she just acting up. But also I need a trim. So so make sure you don't need a trim too. That could be it too.
Yeah, because I did just get a nice trim and it changed the game. I noticed it immediately. Mm-hmm. But I'm really, as I'm continuing my natural hair love journey, I'm just trying to do the best by my tresses that I can. And from what you just shared, I'm sitting here with the thought, you mean to tell me that global warming is going to impact my fro? Is that what you're saying to me, D?
Listen, we already dealt with roller roots, and now we we got to deal with the global warming. Just
all right, so there you have it. For those of you our other natural niestas in the tribe, y'all go ahead, like, follow it, Miss Natural D on Instagram. She keeps the stories and the reels lit, and she keeps you encouraged, and she shares hair tips, y'all. Okay, like every single one of the members of the Tilted Halo tribe, Miss Natural D is multifaceted, much like Clairol. All right. So, what I want to do is move the train right on up the track. What time is it, y'all?
What's really going on?
Start singing. What's really going on?
What's really going on? Yes, that's it. That's it. Get ready, get ready, get ready. We getting ready to hop right on into it because there is so much to discuss. Now, y'all already know, you heard of our segment, Views from the Petty Pew. We ain't nothing but a whole bunch of church kids out here telling our stories the way we like to tell them. Okay, and because we are in the church, we know that we are not of it, in the world, but not of it. So we bring a more spiritual perspective to some of this commentary we bring to the table. So the first conversation we're going to get into tonight is the recent comments shared by the bishop himself, Bishop T.D. Jakes. We had a video of a portion of his sermon that went viral where the bishop was sharing his thoughts and basically said that, we're raising women to be men. And he took that conversation to discuss some of the masculine or more masculine behaviors that women have taken to naturally these days because of the absence, in my opinion, of the male figurehead in the household. And, this is something that me personally, I believe we have basically been forced into since those days when we existed in captivity here in these good here United States. We had to be strong to keep our families alive. We had to be strong when we unfortunately had to stand by and watch our men be broken so that they could be submissive or considered more submissive and less of a threat to the master. So to hear this type of conversation, baby, from what I observed, these internet streets was ablaze and afire with conversation about the bishop's shared opinions. Not only did he make those statements, he made those statements in a Father's Day sermon. So in the middle of a Father's Day sermon, when he had the great opportunity to admonish the men to take their rightful place, he took a left and came for us, the strong women in the group. And it's kind of like, back up, sir. I've had to say this to gentlemen who come and act like they want to entertain my company when they make reference to my strength. And it's like, sir, I need you to recognize and see my strength as an asset to you and not a threat. With this strength comes a whole lot of resourcefulness. And as we've heard it over the years, shout out to Pastor Christina Davis, we are kingmakers. And when you connect with me, you connect with vision. And if you are someone with vision, and baby, I'm going to help you blow that things up 10 times what you thought it would ever be while you're walking the face of the earth, while you're healthy and able to enjoy the spoils of your labor. So allow me to get up off the conversation. Who do I want to toss the mic to? You know what? I'm going to get it to Karen because I see something bubbling in your eyes. You're going to close this one out, D. Go ahead, Karen.
So I'm going to try to be real quick. And here's one of the challenges. This is not a new sermon. Women, we've been the topic of bashing for many years, and this is one of the conversations that I had with my boo, and he's like, you know what, if y'all talk about that, I'll get on the show. And I got just a few things to say, and it's gonna be really quick. This not my fight. At some particular point, if you don't want us to man up, men, that means y'all got to square up on our behalf. So this not a fight. I ain't arguing this argument with no female, with no male. If you want us to change position, now I will say rightfully so. Women, we have to learn how to. I think humble is the right word. It's okay to be to submit to your person, to your man. I ain't
Say
saying
that again for the
everybody.
people in the back.
Submit to your man, okay? The priest of your home. But here's the thing. This ain't my fight. And I say it this way because at a certain point, whether African American, Black women, whether white women, whether Hispanic women, our brothers have to stand up and take their rightful place. And just like we rebuke those folks who gave the report about the no naps, it's not my job to rebuke somebody who says you can do a lesser job. So for me, I could come to you with receipts. I bought the house by myself because God allowed the provision, and my kids needed a place to stay. Like, this is very practical. This ain't. I don't consider myself a boss, but I make boss moves because God allows. I bought the car because economics, of the disadvantage would have me shopping at the dollar store and a bodega to try to feed my family versus trying to find some actual fruit and vegetables. I'm gonna need the whip to do that. So some of this stuff wasn't me making boss moves because I wanted to show some dude that I'm either better than you or I don't need you. I promise you now, it's a thing that I have to learn how to do, to submit to the will and the vision that God may have given to this man in my life. But I promise he remind me and I remind him, I got vision for what God is saying for us to do. And we got to be reminded of the Deborahs and the ones that went before the men. And not only were they warriors, they saved lives. So here's the PSA. That part. Here's the PSA. Don't sit a woman down and then get your head chopped off because you couldn't see what she saw. That's the thing, that I don't discredit or uphold anything where we put limitations on the kingdom. So that's my whole thing. Talk to the men. You ain't got to bash them. You ain't got to bash them because it's Father's Day, but remind them of why they're needed and also the cause and effect. Now, I know most of what we saw was only a snippet, so we didn't see the whole sermon. We didn't see everything that he said, but you could go because TD Jakes on these internet. So go find a date. You'll find everything that he said. But the challenge is that you had an opportunity to not admonish the men, but encourage them. Listen, our women are this way because they had to be this way since the enslavement of our people, as you've already said, Keita. And now we got to give them a reason to trust the process, but trust that we're going to stand up for them. So men, you want us to be softer? Come on and step up and say why this is the wrong thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pass the mic. I'm not gonna drop it. I'm gonna pass the mic to Natural D, who I know has been a pew baby since she was a wee baby. So I'm gonna go ahead and let her say something about what all been going on in the church pews.
So I think you hit it on the head as far as we saw a snippet and not the whole thing. And I saw, maybe that's what the battle in the comments was. That's not the whole thing. Y'all just taking a snippet. That's not what he meant. Because right after that, where it cuts off, he comes after the men. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. And quite frankly, I'm pretty sure he did, because this is TD Jakes, the father of Women Thou Art Loose, and and the whole nine, and the lady love her Lord and all the things, and so he's encouraged women, particularly Black women, for decades. So I don't question that. But what just gets me is, I'm with you, Karen. You ain't got to bring us in it. Just talk to the men, encourage the men, admonish them. I do not need an example, by all means. because that's always, and that's the problem, I believe, with the Black church specifically, but with the church as a whole, we always come after the lesser to correct something. And unfortunately, it's always women. And so at some point, no, leave us out of it. Because listen, I'm after the soft life. Because I'm tired.
Oh.
Somebody come take out this trash.
Girl, can somebody cut this lawn?
Because, you know,
Mayday.
we've had to be strong for a reason, but usually not out of choice. And that's one thing. But then also, if you tiptoe your way into the TikTok streets, there's a conversation happening of this mentality also being of a certain persuasion, where really where we come from, it is the woman that is strong, that is the leader. And so maybe we need to come back around and say, maybe this construct or this, construction of a family unit is not for us. But that's just what's going on in TikTok streets. Listen, just somebody come take out this trash. That's all I'm saying.
Honey, I got a honey-do list. I need you to know. I need the trash taken out. I need the car wash. I need the car service.
Car wash.
I need you to carry my bag. Now, I promise you, when my boo comes through, he could take my luggage, and I'd be like, look at him being all strong, carrying my 50 pounds, because I'm packing all 50 pounds when we traveling somewhere. And it's like, look at him carrying that thing. Thank you, boo. I appreciate that. Listen, I let him know when he came. I got a honey-do list that's about 6 years long. So if you stay, you better go get you some tools, because I got stuff for you.
You got work.
Listen, I got a toolbox. Just come on.
And we know it's more than that.
Come on over here.
And I love it because in my Facebook memories, it came up with a Ty Tribbett. This is an old clip that talked about men don't need to be going to look to find a woman until they got something for the woman to do. So I thought it very, kind of timely and on time, although it was coming up in the memory of just a few years ago. We was reminding the men, don't come out here coming for Sally if you ain't got nothing for Sally to do. Like you got to have something for her to do. That means you got to have a vision that you could connect with the vision that God has given to her. And then guess what? Y'all will be that dynamic duo, that power couple that we hear all about. People like the words, but that costs something. If you got a strong woman, you have to learn how to celebrate her. If you got a strong man, listen. We know, and I'll say my type, like I know that I'm an alpha female. That means you can't whisper to me. Sometimes don't yell at me. That ain't what I said. But you can't whisper to me. Be like, okay, she gonna, because I don't know how to act. I know that about me. So I lay my own self on the altar because I know that coming in. Like, Lord, I'm about to tell this man off, and he may or may not deserve it. But if you could for next time, bridle my tongue. Let my words edify. Let the words, listen, the words have already been said. Sometimes we just got to pray the lyrics that done already been said because they still, the blood still work. That's what we're going to say for that.
Well, you already know. Y'all heard me refer to our Father as a mighty muzzle, because one thing I do know and appreciate about myself is the fact that I'm slick and quick with it. My tongue can cut you quicker than any two-edged sword, but I also know how to be quiet. And, in some recent times, I had a friend of mine ask me, what's on your mind? And my simple response was, listen, I'm in a season of learning that I don't need to allow everything that I'm thinking to cross my lips. The thought I was having at the moment may have offended. Because I already know sometimes I'm going to tell you straight up, as I once told one of my bosses, sometimes I lack tact, and I know it. To the point where I asked to be sent to a 2-day conference, and the title of the conference was How to Communicate with Tact and Professionalism. So, I look at me in the mirror every day. especially when it comes to the conversation of the battle of the sexes, so to speak. I have also been referred to as an alpha female. I don't necessarily see myself that way. I just be chilling, but you can't do any and everything to me, and you can't talk to me any old kind of way. I don't think that that's arrogant or narcissistic in any way. What I do believe it's 1,000,000% attached to is the amount of respect that I have for myself and the respect that I intentionally show others, sometimes even when they don't necessarily deserve it. I was raised a certain kind of way before Christ, and after Christ, let me just tell you, he made me better. Because, and y'all know I throw out that joke. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all, it's the reason why I run to the foot of the throne. I am a problem, and I know it. I needed a savior to submit my life to, so I could present a better version of myself each and every day, and that is only manifested out of my personal love relationship with him. I got to study that word. I've got to pray, and in my prayer, not only praying for others, praying for the things about me that I know don't make his heart smile. And me acting up sometimes don't make God's heart smile. So, you know, every now and again, he hit me with a good Holy Ghost throat chop and helped me get my life together because I'm a knucklehead sometimes, and I'm honest about that. I question everything. Y'all already know that's why there's a Y in the way I spell Tilted Halo. All right, so great commentary, ladies. I really, 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 really love everything and stand in agreement with basically everything you all had to say. Ladies, it's okay to be soft and pink. Go ahead and be feminine for the right one. And check it out. You're not going to have to code switch to be that person when the right one shows up. It's going to happen for you so naturally. You're just going to flow into it and be like, thank you, baby. I really appreciate that. See, don't that even look, I look good doing that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, moving right along. Child cheese. Y'all know I was almost late to my second gig yesterday listening to the tomfoolery that broke out on the Instagram streets. Can we get into it?
Oh, Lord.
Y'all already know I'm a huge fan of Dr. Larry Reed, and I just happened to see that he was going live on his Instagram, pops on the Instagram, and I catch the latter part of an engaging conversation that he was having with another female prophetess who's recently gone viral and sharing her thoughts about how women dress coming into the church house. Unfortunately, again, y'all know this brain. I can't call a name right now, but I actually don't think it's necessary because I'm not in the mood to give a whole lot more folks free advertisement. But what I witnessed during that live broadcast in that short 20 minutes, I had to call down heaven's angels and ask Jesus to be a fence. What am I talking about? Well, let me tell you what I'm talking about. This past weekend up in New York, a bishop was robbed during a live stream of his Sunday morning worship service. He and his wife were specifically stripped of every single piece of jewelry on their person. And everything that has come out in the aftermath got me sitting here clutching my imaginary pearls. Well, actually, I can clutch the pearls dangling from my ears right now, okay? I'm clutching my pearls because they were doing what Larry do. Larry is a clown, and we all know that. And his foolery has opened doors for him and taken him places even he didn't realize he was going, but he gave God his yes to doing what he does in a different way. So on this here live, the bishop, the situation they were discussing, Bishop decided to hop in the chat and they pulled him up on the live stream, and baby, it went all the way down. Bishop, while I recognize he was responding out of a space of emotional trauma because he's now in the aftermath, really considering what happened on Sunday, but baby, he cussed Larry and old girl all the way out. And again, clutching my pearls. Because all I could do was pray. because y'all already know I deal in professionally in the area of social services, so I'm very well trained when it comes to dealing with people and their trauma responses, and I'm able to identify people who are in a mental health crisis as a certified mental health first aider myself. And all I can say is this man is just Jesus bridle his tongue, because he carries the title of bishop in the church. Now, no judgment. I don't care where you got your money from, and I don't care nothing about your bling. But what I do care about is the representation of the Lord's church that you put on display. And baby, I don't think the Father was pleased in that behavior at all. D, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I echo your sentiments. I mean, his level of representation was just, I mean, below subpar. I mean, just under the par. Like, just, it was low.
How low can you
And
go? Oh,
right.
sorry.
And that's honestly what happened. The further the conversation went, the lower he went. And it was kind of mind-boggling, because part of it was he misunderstood what was said. And I think he was gaslit by one of his members, or all of his members, whoever sent him a link to the conversation. So not only are you late to the conversation, you missed what was actually said at the top, which was, support of them in of the situation, and understanding that, it's tragic. I mean, that's crazy. Gunmen coming at you in the middle of your sermon, in the middle of your service, and coming at you and your wife. Like, that was recognized. But then it just went straight to, I mean, just belittling to like the highest
disrespect. That's what it went to.
So disrespectful, especially to sis. Like, I was just like, so this is how we talking to Black women now on the internet? Like, we just, and then for coming at Dr. Reed, like, I mean, just saying things that just should not be said, should not even come out of a bishop's mouth, especially publicly. So now I'm like, bruh, your witness is tainted. Your witness is, who's receiving that now? Who's really receiving that? But also, you just went through some trauma. You shouldn't even insert yourself in these situations.
Why are you on the internet, sir?
Exactly.
Why are you not tending to your wife and your child?
Exactly. If indeed the gun was pointed at your child, that's where your attention needs to be. Because now that child, if they're of an age of remembering, and even if they're not, it's going to bring a trigger down the line. You need to cover that. That needs to be handled above all else. So there was no reason for you to even be in that live. Now, they want to kiki, they want to kiki. Who cares?
Everybody kiki.
You take care of your family.
Mm-hmm. Take care of your family. And, I'm with you, D. It's like your witness is way tainted, boo. And I don't even know this gentleman. And, even after he jumped off Larry's live, he went on and did a whole nother hour live himself. And it sounded like he was defending his behaviors, giving it justification. And I respect the ministry that you're doing, and even how you issued a call to street ministry, so to speak, because that's where he was proclaiming. He ministers to the streets, and the streets come to his ministry. And he began to name how many well-known artists gave their lives to the Lord as a result of his ministry. But at the end of the day, my question was, who's your presiding bishop? Because even the bishop has to submit to someone.
That's right.
Well, he claimed his arch, but I don't know.
I don't know, Karen. Use a whole preacher's kid too. Talk to us, because I know there's some standards that come along with the title of bishop in the church.
First of all, you supposed to be in good standing with your own household before you coming out here acting crazy in these streets. I heard about this story and it was like, wait, what? and then to hear the response, I totally get it. Like, but literally, the word tells us be angry and sin not. Like, you could be mad all day long. You can tell the people this sin. This was my life. This was my family's life. You get the opportunity and the chance to be upset and even to publicly show your upsetness. But same thing, like there's a conduct clause for many of the ballers, the musicians, the people who work for brands that are multi-million-dollar brands. Listen, ain't a brand bigger than Jesus. I need you to know. So the conduct clause is the entire Bible. Pick a scripture and follow that one. Now, name one of them say cuss nobody out. That's all I got to say for that.
Publicly.
Now, well, I agree, because you're right. Some back, but okay, we're not even gonna get into that. See, Donnell, how you get me in trouble with
I
this?
mean, it says go
With
to your
this
brother
one
individually.
word.
So I'm
I
trying to
promise
figure out how we
you.
just jump to
That part. But here's the deal. Whoever gaslighted and said, Pastor, they're over here talking about you. You did it wrong. Because whether you a friend or a follower, you can handle business. And whether you felt like you wanted to protect something, you can protect somebody and not drag them in, especially if you're not sure of their character. Because I know the three of us have had to come in and stand up for people. Listen, I got a god sister that if she show up, you can forget about it. I'm the praying sister. She gonna knock you out. So we trying to make sure, don't let her know. Let's just clean all of this up. Literally, we the cleanup crew. We the, men in black with the little y'all didn't know none of this ever happened. Sometimes you have to be that person if you're not sure of the character of your leaders in leadership. He is responsible to someone else, and someone else is going to hold him accountable for the actions, for the words. Now we'll get an apology and people will say different things. I don't know whether this is insurance, nothing or not, or anything. But there's a lot of lessons when you see somebody going through something that you can actually take from this. So for me, I'm like, okay, let's make sure we got this jewelry insured so that if somebody robbed me, I'm not upset because I legitimately can go, hello, yeah, y'all, I got a whole video. Nope, I don't know them people. Don't Jesse Smollett it. Justin Smollett. I'm just gonna put that out there. Don't do that. But yes, they legitimately took this stuff. Okay, y'all cutting the check. All right, do you do direct deposit? That's it. So I don't have to worry about like this real life. People do this every single day, whether it's artwork, jewelry, whatever you want to insure. That's the reason why you insure stuff. Now, I hear in these streets with that much money and insurance stuff. Everybody get into something. I promise. But there's so many layers to this that it's like, sir, sometimes you got to be quiet while you're bleeding. Because this was traumatic when you think about your wife and your children, and you are the one who is responsible for their protection in their lives. Now, this is the time. So let that be a lesson to anybody. Honey, if you're going through something, don't come up here on these Facebook streets. Why? Because you're gonna do it wrong. It don't matter who you are. It doesn't, and we saw that in this. This man had some of the highest titles, and he still did it wrong. Why? Because trauma, you gotta go get healed. You gotta go get delivered, whether that's prayer, therapy, or all of the above.
All of the above.
Plus, you gotta go get that handle before you come out in public. Because what happens, honey, when you are bleeding from a mantle, you will bleed on people who never cut you. That woman didn't mean nothing to him specifically, but now you bleeding on her because you didn't get your Band-Aid and your stitches. Now go ahead on over there, get your stitches. Lord gonna heal you on up.
Saz on that.
That part, it's gonna take a little while because you're gonna have to have a hearing if he really is. I'm not questioning anybody's credentials, but the way that works, you got to answer to a whole panel of other people. So it's not just one person. It's usually a panel of other people that will say yay or nay to him continuing in the work that he has been ordained to continue. And we yet praying for you. Like that's all we can do. Like we're
we
sharing,
praying and
our commentary, but we praying for you.
Check it out. We're praying, and I did add a comment or two to the conversation, and it was basically, I'm glad that no one lost their lives. Can we give God a heavenly hallelujah for that? Because in light of recent events, that could have went a whole nother way, but God. And I really appreciate you sharing. Get somewhere, Karen. Get somewhere and heal so you don't bleed all over the place. Because at the end of the day, that blood is still even on your hands as it's pouring and gushing from your body, as you're enacting a spiritual assault on somebody who didn't necessarily deserve it. Yeah. Now, they could have sat there and went round robin and kept joning on one another, because I promise you, Larry, again, is a whole clown. And it just sat in my heart. And I just pray that, first of all, even through the titles, even through our profession of salvation and declaring that we are God's children and God's representation here on this earth, I just pray that his influence and the impact of this particular behavior does not turn that many more people away from coming into the knowledge of God in Christ for who he really is. I've never been a fan of a whole lot of opulence in the church. And that's an ongoing conversation. It's interesting that this incident occurred around some opulence that was being displayed in the pulpit. So we have that conversation going on right now, basically piggybacking on Creflo Dollar's recent conversation and comments about tithing. And yeah, it's interesting how all of this stuff is coming to the forefront. But again, we here at the table already know that judgment starts with the church. And if we are the church, you need to understand that if you got something, if you got some lean insides, the Father is checking every last one of us right now. And no, ain't none of us perfect. We are all subjected to our own humanity as we continue to grow in grace, loving God day after day. But it is intentional and it is very important that you know so much about who you are and who you were before Christ. Because what happens is those small foxes get in and like to stir the vine of a part of you that you thought was under subjection, that you thought you had overcome. And that's not always necessarily the case. Sometimes a smell can trigger a behavior. Sometimes a sound can trigger a behavior. People, places, and things. I know that's one thing that's pushed heavily in the substance abuse community. When you want to get away from engaging with these particular vices, you really need to change the people you deal with, the places you go, and the things you do. And I promise you, again, as we grow in grace, those things change and we learn and practice self-control, because again, that too is a fruit of the Spirit that should always be on display. So yeah, let me get up off that. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's turn it up. Just a taste, just a taste, just a taste. Can we talk about these here grocery store prices, y'all? I know you saw me post the video. True. Yeah, I posted that video. I posted that video in the group because I cackled as I was watching it, because I was relating to it. Because I'm like, bruh, for those of y'all that are not in the Facebook group, come on in here, because, we in here. We engaging. We got people posting stuff. We posting jokes. We posting information. We got a whole pin thread in there for you small business owners. I'm trying to tell you, we go in there and we are spending our money with our own. Okay, right there in the Unhinged with Tilted Halo group on Facebook. So come on in the room if you're not in there already. So let me get back to the grocery store prices. Man, listen, how are you ladies surviving out here with the super inflation that's happening right before our eyes? It's transforming. What's happening?
Literally.
No snacks. That's what's happening.
No snacks. Listen, we doing fruit and vegetables, and I started my own garden because I'm not sure how long the riddles. I'm dead serious. Like we is growing herbs and things in the kitchen, outside. You know, we were on a call early, and I'm telling my sister like I had to bring the plants inside because the heat was trying to kill my babies. But listen, we got to survive. I'm not really a farmer. I'm a city girl, playing in some dirt. That's who I am. But I don't have another recourse at this point. I can't afford snacks, so I'm about to be snatched. So it's gonna be all right. But when I saw that video, it was like, that's me. Like, wait, it's worse than going to the dollar store that's now no longer a dollar. It's like, wait, what did I miscalculate? What?
It's real out here.
It's real.
D,
But
how
can
you
we
doing?
bless the Lord for gas going down?
Yes, Shondo, yes. Give him glory. Oh, I'm about to fall out about them gas prices. I saw it drop 5 more cents from this morning when I left the house.
Listen, when I left here to go to Virginia, it was still $4.75. I got to Virginia and I said, Auntie, that says $4.19. That says $4.19, Jesus.
Did you bring gallons upon gallons home with you, sis?
But I didn't have to because I honor the Lord. Because when I got back, my gas station said $4.35. I said, well, come on, Jesus. You better come on because...
And that's the thing, like literally back in the day, it wasn't a choice between bread or gas. But this is where we are right now. Now I ain't gonna who all over there. Can somebody come get me? Because literally this is, and I saw a meme that said something, you know, the guy sitting on the passenger side, we used to call him a scrub. Now we calling him real smart because ain't nobody got time. But he's
financially savvy now.
For $4.06, and it was like, oh, we gonna fill up. We gonna fill up. Like this shouldn't bring us joy to say I could afford to fill up. Like, but this is where we at.
Y'all know I've got 0 cents. You know, I got a little ditty in my head as we've been having this conversation about this astronomical prices in the grocery store, in the gas station. Y'all ready?
Ready.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. What am I leaving at the grocery store? Hey! I can't afford it all. So I'm grateful for seasons that challenged me in years past to move into resourcefulness because funds was limited. So I had to learn how to do certain things because I wanted certain things. So shout out to Self-Rising Flour. Shout out to Self-Rising Flour. All right, because I had learned to make bread like all kind of different ways. I know how to make bread, of course, from scratch. Again, shout out to Self-Rising Flour. I had learned to make a loaf of bread with Self-Rising Flour and a can of 7-Up, y'all. It was bomb. That's all I'm going to tell you, all right? Look it up. That information is out there somewhere in these YouTube streets or on Google University. I learned how to make biscuits without bread. I learned how to make biscuits without eggs. So for such a time as this, having this information of my in my resource arsenal has become beneficial to me. And I'm still eating ice cream. How about that? Because I learned what I could do to continue to satisfy my oh so wonderful palate that likes a wide variety of food. I learned that I can recreate anything I could buy in the grocery store right here in my house. I don't necessarily need to go give the restaurateurs all my money all the time. I learned to get in the kitchen and make certain things myself. I actually had a conversation with the customer walking through the grocery store, and we had a whole wonderful dialogue about the joy of making beans from scratch, not buying them in the can. And I'm like, yeah, girl, I could get 3 meals out of a bag of dry beans. I don't know who you're dealing with, but holla at Keita. We making different salads with black beans. We got pinto beans. We got small red beans, regular red beans. Baby, we eating. We got chili going on over here. It was Taco Tuesday. Unfortunately, we wasn't able to go out on this evening because we chose to come live. You know, we were scheduled to go out and get our Taco Tuesday on, but we chose to bring the conversation to you all tonight. But baby, I really didn't need no tacos today because I had already had me some baked tacos that all I had to do was warm them up because I made them myself. Another way I've been able to survive the uprising of the grocery store prices is I've been honest with the group of women that I interact with professionally. And baby, all I had to do was open my mouth and I found out who had the chickens and was willing to donate eggs, because we all know eggs is costing $5.
Okay.
I'm not paying for eggs no more, son. That's just wrong. What? Why are eggs $5 is the question. But
we can buy a whole chicken by this point. Like, just get some chicken feed and go ahead and do what you need.
Go on and get the coop up, Karen. Get the coop, Karen.
Listen, I didn't mean to turn into a full-on country girl down here, but I'm going to have to with these grocery store prices.
Well, we're going to have to get you a pair of gardening overalls with twisted threads on the lapel or something.
Okay, I can go for that now.
Or on the brim of your garden. You got you a gardening hat?
I don't have a gardening hat.
Girl, you need you a gardening hat. Boo!
I got gardening gloves, though. I got
you
gloves.
Need a gardening hat and some gardening gloves.
I got the gloves, so we working up our apparel. Yes, we working up our apparel because you know when you talked about them oils burning in your head.
You need a hat.
Then they start seeping down, sisters, natural sisters, y'all know, because then when it start coming down, it come down. Then you get into your glasses and you can't see nothing. So I promise you was on my corner with that whole time.
Listen, I already can't see.
All right, we don't need nothing interfering with. Actually, I have more than 4 eyes, but praise God for the technology that the eyeglass people them can present, that I'm not required to wear Coke bottle lenses. Praise God.
Hallelujah.
They have the technology to thin out and hide my trifocal vision. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
All right. So thank y'all for that wonderful playful banter. We are making light of a very situation because at the end of the day, y'all know one of my superpowers is joy. And I laugh in the face of danger, to quote the Lion King movie. Shout out to Young Simba. So I'm young Simba out here laughing in the face of danger because at the end of the day, I know I serve a God who never fails and a God who I can refer to as Jehovah Jireh. He is definitely my provider. I got a testimony for every minute, every moment, every second, every hour of each and every day of my life, where he has shown up and made sure your girl had everything she needed to survive. So I want to take this opportunity to encourage those of you who may be a little stressed out about what you think you see. I would invite you right now to activate your faith lenses. And remember, we serve a way maker, a miracle worker, a promise keeper. He is truly a light in the darkness, way bigger than a light in the back of the refrigerator. All right. He's going to provide. And if you a child of the King, you ain't never going to be seen begging bread. I promise you that. So let me move this one on. I got to throw this one in here because I was very, very excited to see that our sister, one of the queens of comedy, Miss Monique herself, has been given the opportunity to present her own Netflix comedy special. Let's give her a round of applause. Now, this is in the aftermath of, so many people having shared different opinions about the strong Black woman that Monique has become in these past few years. She's been very vocal on how our young queens have been coming about the house with these bonnets. We've heard her come for Lee Daniels and demand fairness and treatment. And they have since made amends, and she will also be starring in a new movie that is directed by Mr. Daniels. So we're happy that, peace has been made in that situation. But Monique, again, the last conversation we had concerning something she had to say was about the D.L. Hughley situation when she came up and they got into that whole back and forth about who was the headliner and who was not. And so many people were coming for her and basically labeling her as a troublemaker, as a problem. And I, at that point, questioned, what's the problem with a strong Black woman who's not afraid to speak up and be vocal about what she wants? So we see now she's got the opportunity. And are either of you looking forward to the specials, to the movie? Talk to me, my sisters.
Well, I will definitely keep an eye out. And I'm happy for her. I'm excited to see, another Black woman getting an opportunity and a chance to do, her craft on Netflix. But personally, I'll just check for it. I'm not, actively looking for it. My heart is, set elsewhere at this point because somebody decided to drop a trailer and steal my life. So that's where I'm at right now. But hey, kudos to her. And for saying, listen, y'all came at me, but I won. But somebody's on my side. So kudos to her.
I'm gonna chime in and say I'm happy to see the progress and hopeful that the end result works out very well, because what is happening here is larger than Monique alone getting her special. Like, yes, it was a long fight, but each time this happens, this gives opportunity for other actresses of color to be able to move forward and away from the stereotype. So it's like, okay, well, we got to fight harder for ours because y'all tripping. Now the next person can actually go in and have a conversation. But I do have a little bit of reservation, so I'm hoping that it all works out well. Like, I'm glad that it's being inked and that the specials are gonna come forth. I definitely will be supporting it because I like Monique and I like her comedy. Let me just say that. I don't always agree in everything that she does, but guess what? Y'all don't always agree with me, so we cool. But I love her artistry. And I think that she is a brilliant comedian and is worthy of this opportunity. And so again, when we see different things, we do have to take it a little bit with a grain of salt of we each have an opportunity for a stepping stone. So I'm excited, not just for her special, but what else this means for other sisters that need to hit the stage as well and want their rightful dollars to be able to do that. So, and I too am setting my date.
Hey, as the Monique turns, as the Monique turns, we're gonna be watching and we just gonna
I love it.
Yeah.
We just gonna keep watching and we just gonna see what happens. Because there's so much visual enjoyment out there right now.
Yeah.
We could talk about it forever. And I'm just grateful that she was successful in getting what she believed she had rights to when she came, with that one particular streaming, service. Right. That ain't sending checks yet.
We're gonna call them. That's what we're gonna call them.
Y'all.
We're gonna
anyway.
Yeah, listen, they cut their budget, so a check better be had.
Hey, especially with anyway, we're not gonna talk about that.
Not on air yet.
Not yet. Because I don't need no problems, and let me jump up off that. So thank you, ladies. For another wonderful conversation as we've discussed what's really going on. want to throw one more in there though.
What you throwing in? What you throwing
What
in?
you got?
Come on, throw it.
The monkeypox.
Ciao.
It's our fault. We said yes, we're gonna go do this. You know, we could have said tune in next time.
Nah, bro. You just said
Same
y'all
bad time.
was it my monkey okay?
We never know. Is it gonna be the monkey or the orangutan? Is it gonna be? Do we have to be fighting out in these?
Wait, we fighting them for our life.
And literally, Natural D, we are back to fighting for our life again. I think we got a recurring theme that we need to talk about when we get off air. I'm just saying.
The monkey thing. Is that better?
Lord, it's better.
These monkeypox, y'all. You know that you heard us talk about this a little while ago because I like to pay attention to certain things. And no, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm not trying to tell you to go out and get your jabba dabba do on with this new vaccine that they're coming up to combat what has now or what now has the potential to be declared another global health issue. I know that the World Health Organization has issued some recent statements about their concern about the rise in diagnosed cases of monkeypox here in the United States. Of course, we have since learned that New York City appears to be the epicenter of this virus. When we were first introduced to this new Rona of sorts, it was presented as a viral infection that is primarily transmitted through bisexual and homosexual men and their contact with one another. I've seen some updated information released lately that says that there's another mode of transmission for the monkeypox, which is basically stating that you can catch it through inhalation, which says that this is another airborne virus that we have on our hands. And not only did I come into the information that it is now something that is inhalation transmissible, we've also heard it reported that there are now some diagnosed cases amongst the children. The children who don't have all of them types of different kind of contacts and don't necessarily find themselves in too many different environments where they can catch this. So now it seems to have morphed into something else. I'm not in any way, shape, or form trying to fear monger because y'all already know I laugh in the face of fear. Okay, joy is my superpower. I don't know what else to tell you. But it's just a story I like to keep my eye on, ladies. Because as I was talking to my good girlfriend Sue today, I said, well, because y'all know I can be a little ignorant sometimes on purpose in the questions I pose. I'm like, yo, is monkeypox related to the chicken pox? Is it the chicken pox renamed? Because I really haven't heard too many people talk about their children even getting chicken pox lately. Mm-hmm. And I know that there's a vaccine out there for it, but chicken pox was fairly common. Now, Karen, I got to ask you because you got the party of 9 over there.
No lies detected.
So you didn't heard anything about this here chicken pox or anything?
Nah, listen, we keeping the kids to themselves. I want to bring back the notion that, the common cold is still out here. Like you could just have a regular old cold. It's regular chest cold, head cold. Yeah, I ain't heard nothing about no chicken pox, but I was one of those that when my children started having chicken pox, it was one of us and then all of us, because I ain't have that luxury to be like, oh, okay, well, we gonna try and see, and I'm out 1 week now, and then I'm gonna be out. Listen, if mama didn't work, then nobody eat. Like this was a different kind of grocery store shenanigans. So I had put them all together at the same time. So when the first one got the pox, y'all gonna share this shirt, and we gonna call it the sharing shirt until all y'all got this chicken pox. And so I just was out for 10 days, and we just went on ahead and everybody got it all at the same time. Now I do not recommend this for today's chicken pox because I don't know if it's real chicken pox. But back then, Mama ain't had no time for that. It was like, what? And the doctor said, well, it's okay because, you know, you might not see it for another 3 weeks. Ain't nobody got time for this. Everybody got in one room. You gonna get this chicken pox all at the same time.
Put the shirt on.
Put the shirt on. So all my kids had chicken pox all at the same time. You know, they had no health issues, so I wasn't worried about, oh my goodness, we got quarantine. I ain't know nothing about it. I would fail as a parent today. Let me just say that, because all that quarantine investor ain't no time for that.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
even
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know nothing about new chicken pox. Everybody on my side is safe. You know, we had a couple of bouts of the common cold. It happens, you know, and it one thing I'll mention, these new babies, when they get a cold, what I should say toddlers, the new babies to the toddlers, when they get a cold, these common colds are strong. So parents, you know, protect yourselves. Johnny look cute, but that common cold to take you out way different than these kids are getting it. Like they getting it and they just cranky till bedtime. You gonna be in the bed for 5 days trying to figure out how did this happen, and it ain't got nothing to do with corona. So I don't really know about the chicken pox. You know,
That is so true. And why everything got to be Rona related when it's attached to a sneeze, cough, or a sore throat?
I still say don't sneeze over here because I don't want nothing. I don't want monkeypox. I don't want chickenpox. I don't want shingle. If it's contagious, keep yourself home, please, and thank you.
No Ron Isley in that, huh?
No.
No Ron Isley. Okay. Do you got anything to add to the monkey conversation?
It's just another reason for me to keep my mask on. That's all I'm saying.
and not show up to everything. You know, I got to be collective.
Exactly. So, now I will say they at least issued a statement saying that this variant is, you know, it's not detrimental. 99% of people recover within a week, whatever. But I don't want no scab. Look, as someone who grew up in the age where if one sibling got the chicken pox, you was all in the room sleeping together.
That's
so my 2-year-old self was.
That's hard.
Well, from my brother. Listen, and I just no, thank you. I'm not interested in that. And if somebody with eczema, I'm really not interested.
Oh no,
I'm not interested.
No, that would be a whole problem and circumstance.
Listen, I can hold that off well. I'm not interested in anything else. Thank you. No. Amen.
Well, thank y'all so much for sharing. You know, thank y'all for putting up with my little raggedy imitation of the monkeys. I don't know what monkey I was imitating, but it was just, see, the monkey popped up again. It popped up again. So yeah, as we prepare to wrap it all the way up, we just gonna go ahead and sit back, relax, and we gonna chill as we receive yet another word of wisdom from our very own in-house master life coach, Queen Karen Ann Sims herself of Twisted Threads. Let me go and lean back in my chair. Let's go, sis. I'm taking notes. Somebody's giving us an assignment.
I think today is going to be an assignment, and so we're super excited. One, to have the continued opportunity to bless y'all with something that's going to carry you through the week, the days, until we get to connect again. Now, listen, I got to remind us that I always have a title, but I want to remind us of last week's title when we talked about the refresh and the reason why the refresh is necessary. But today's title and what we talking about real quick is to thine own self be true. Here's the thing. This is wisdom that will always feed you. You can sit here and act like, you know, you fronting on somebody and you want to put on airs with people, and you will find that that will cost you a couple of things. If you're a woman of a certain age, a queenager like some of us, or maybe you are pre-queenager. I think I'm going to give you that one, Natural D. A pre-teenager, a queenager. We understand that there's a time where we can no longer hide from the proclivities that we have in our life. We can no longer hide from, if you always eating that cake. You know, I love it because during this time, we usually, you know, we check it, we call it our sugar. We checking our A1C to see, you know, are we off the spectrum, pre-diabetic, diabetic, and you know what happens? The A1C don't lie. It tell on you for anything you've done in the last probably 3 or 4 months. Now take that in your real life and understand this. When we say to thine own self be true, that means you got to take the time to check yourself. You know, back in the day, the prophet ministry used to say, check yourself before you wreck yourself. You know, I always got to come to you with the real thing, because if we don't check ourselves, literally we will be misrepresenting not just who we are, but many of us who are Christ representatives, means that we are misrepresenting the entire kingdom. That's why it's very important, because lives are at stake. You got to know and recognize your own flaws. It's okay. We all have them. And unless you put it in for you, before you, G.I. Joe used to say, what? Knowing is half the battle. If you know what flaws you have, you know your triggers, you got to know what it is that sets you off. And then you got to kind of deal with them, because your triggers are not always everybody else's responsibility. If you don't, again, check yourself. Sometimes you got to remove yourself from certain situations, because you know that's going to be a trigger and you're going to lose your mind. Don't be in those positions. Why? Because Natural D is our accountant taking care of the bail money, but we ain't got that much. So we got to spread it around. So we need for you to be mindful of where you are. Understand that every day is a day to celebrate our own unique contributions to our family, to our community, to the block, and yes, even to the entire earth. You have something that no one else has. I often say the world is waiting for us. You got to take the opportunity to love on yourself first, because when you love on yourself, you give people the opportunity to show them how to love you. How simple is that? Yeah, because when I go and I do the self-care and I get, whether it's hair or nails, or I take the time to drink the extra water, I take the time to speak kindly of myself. I don't say bad things towards myself. You know what that is? That's an invitation for other people to come alongside me and say, you know what? I agree. She's beautiful and so am I. So we get to not only help people know how to treat us. Here's the most important time, and we touched on it a little bit earlier. When you take this time to thine own self be true, also recognize the places that you need to be healed, and then take that time to heal, to love, and to grow. Why? Because we really don't have time for the ER visits and the hospital. They full over there. They got monkeypox, chickenpox, corona. Stay away from the hospital. You could do the healing at home, but it starts with being true to yourself first. That's the word. Heal, love, and grow. Back at you, Keita.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Just be. Yeah. Yeah. And as we close out this broadcast on this evening, again, thank you, Karen. Thank you, Natural D. Thank you to those of you who've hung on in here with us here at the Unhinged Radio Show live. All right. Again, we gearing up. You know, we got some things coming down the pipe. Almost busting at the seams, waiting to share with you. And as we go, I want to go ahead and again encourage you to just be. And to piggyback on what my sister just said, is because y'all know we tend to exist on the same frequency, even though we are miles apart. I want to encourage you to just be you. Because guess what, sweetheart? You are definitely a designer original. And the world is waiting on that unique flavor that you bring. Now, you might be some Sazon. Somebody need a little bit of that in their lives. You might be a little bit adobo. Go on and sprinkle some of that over there on them people's chicken so that they they can enjoy it a little bit better. You might be some Lowrys, or baby, you could be like me, a little bit of your smack your mama. But at the end of the day, just be you, because you are the salt and the light. And no one can be better at being you than you. So own it, be bold in it, just be. It's your girl Tilted Halo with Natural D and Karen Sims. We love y'all so much, and thank you so much for tuning in. And keep an eye out for yet another pop-up over these summertime months. And we out.